Speaker తీసుకురా ముందుకి స్పీకర్ you posted in the group?
I posted.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama,
ये वाला बीच वाला
Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna,
याद नहीं है
Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Can we keep our shoes? Shoes you can leave there. Outside.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. Everyone please be seated. We are very fortunate to have His Holiness Indradyumna Swami Maharaj with us today. Let's welcome Maharaj by loudly chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra 3 times. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare A brief introduction about Maharaj. Maharaj is born in California in 1949. In 1970, Maharaj met Srila Prabhupada. In December 1971, Maharaj is initiated by Srila Prabhupada. Then in 79, at the age of 29, Maharaj accepted sannyasa and then he served as a temple president for a few years in France, New Mayapur project. Taking to heart the direct instruction he received from Srila Prabhupada to preach boldly and have faith in the holy names, Maharaj has circled the globe over 35 times in spreading Krishna consciousness, traveling to several countries such as Russia, Mongolia, Siberia and China, among many others. He is especially known for his large-scale festival programs, such as his annual Festival of India tour in Poland, the annual US-based Sadhu Sangha Kirtan retreat, where thousands of devotees attend every year, and the Rishikesh Kirtan Fest here in India, and a Kirtan and spiritual culture event dedicated to introducing many yoga practitioners who gather in Rishikesh, and practice of Bhakti Yoga, introducing to the yoga groups. Since 2021, concerned with the preservation of the Gaudiya Vaishnava canon, Maharaj has undertaken the responsibility of helping to restore and maintain the sacred scriptures found in VRI, Vrindavan Research Institute, which houses more than 32,000 Gaudiya Vaishnava manuscripts, including many original writings, actually handwritten writings are also important to early Gaudiya Vaishnava writers and thinkers such as Srila Rupa Goswami, Srila Jiva Goswami, Srila Sanatana Goswami, and Srila Narottam Das Thakur. Maharaj he has been writing his well-known Diary of Traveling Preacher, Traveling Monk since 1995. The series describes the adventures he experiences and the people he encounters while traveling. When he is not managing festivals, Maharaj interfaces with many spiritual and political leaders, including the Dalai Lama, the King of Hindu Nation, and the late Nelson Mandela. Maharaj is currently acting as a spiritual guide for hundreds of thousands of people in the world across the globe, including his disciples, followers, and well-wishers. Thank you very much, Maharaj, for being with us today. And also we welcome all the devotees who have come along with Maharaj from various places. Thank you very much, especially Her Grace Rasika Siramani Mataji. She is our Siksha Guru in Seattle.
Vicharashi, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Shri. Om Vishnu Vara Paramis, Arya Vishnu Swami Vishnu, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj Gauri Vaishnava, Acharya Shri Shakti, Pramsabhava Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Shri Shri Radha Krishna, Gopina, Sham Kundalaka, Giri Govardhan, Shri Bhajabhumi Shri Vrindavan, Gritma Pranam, Giri Munimai Ki, Bhakti Devi Ki, Tulsi Maharani Ki, Iskar Viditandra Charji Kumar Ki, Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Ki, Lakshmana Subhara Baladev Ki, Bhagavan Shri Deva Ki, Glory to the Son, glory to the glory to the Son, glory to the Son, glory to Guru, glory to Guru. Ready, go! Yes. Omagam Sivanandasya Yanam Yanam Shivataya Chaksuramitam Janatasma Sri Shri Chaitanya Garo Vishram Shvapitam Bhutale Swayam Rupa Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Thank you very much for inviting me here today to be in this nice Sangha, Sadhu Sangha. It's a saying that birds of a feather flock together. So that's true in all the modes of nature. People in the mode of tamas, ignorance, they come together for their parties. Those in the mode of passion, they come together for their cricket matches, football. Those in the mode of goodness, they have their sophisticated gatherings. But Sadhu Sangha, Sadhu Sangha, Sadhu Shushtapoya, Dhammamatha Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Hoy. We're not interested in those types of association. Our goal is to become godly. Not to become God. That's the polar opposite of our philosophy. We don't want to become God. We want to become servants of God. That's the highest position we can attain, and that's very nice. It's very nice to be the servant of a glorious master, like Sitaram Lakshmana, like Jagannath Sudhara Baladev, Bhagavan, Sri Krishna, Shivera Supoya Krishna Nityadas, that's our natural condition. Just like water has a natural flow. The water, in its extremities, water becomes vapor. When it becomes too hot, the water becomes vapor. And when it becomes too cold, the water becomes ice. But what is water's natural condition when the temperature is around 28 degrees, like it is today? It's liquid. So our natural position is to be servants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And in order to achieve that, we require the association of Hari, Guru, and Vaishnava. We need the association of Vaishnavas. That's our strength to come together as Vaishnavas. So I'm very grateful that I've been offered the opportunity to be with all you very blissful devotees. As soon as we started chanting, you were dancing. It's a good sign. Chanting, dancing, and always after every function there's also feasting. But as I was walking in, I glanced at the photo here of Gokuleshwari Padma Dasi. And generally we have photos of the deities or photos of the spiritual masters. So I inquired who was the Mataji who's prominently displayed here. And I heard the sad story of how she departed under unfortunate circumstances, and I know it's on everyone's mind. So I thought that I would give a little counsel, a little advice, as the community grieves, because every member of our community is near and dear. Everyone is reminding us of Krishna. Every devotee is wearing tilak. What's the definition of tilak? It means that our consciousness is going upwards. Also, it's been described as the footprint of Vishnu. So when you see a devotee, you remember Krishna. Kantimala. Sometimes when I do Sankirtan, I have to wear a Western dress, called Karmi clothes, pants, shirt, jacket like that. But I always wear my Kantimala, so when people meet me, they go, oh, you're a Hare Krishna. We remind people of Krishna by our tilak, by our Kantimala, by our dress, by our character. And that's a blessing. So each of us in this community is very near and dear. When we lose someone who's reminding us of Krishna, serving Krishna, setting us an example of how to serve Krishna, it's a loss. Actually, Vaishnavas are very rare in this world. They're actually lighting up the world by their example and by their preaching. So in this world of darkness, when even one little candle goes out, the world becomes a little bit darker, a little bit sadder. So of course I didn't know Mataji, but she has an initiated name, and I can see from your faces that you're missing her. So I thought to speak a few words about this. Departing this world is always comes as a surprise, however we leave. It's always a shock, despite the fact that that's what we're preparing for. We're preparing. This life is temporary. We're here today, we're gone tomorrow, and realizing that fact, wanting to achieve a higher destination, wanting to achieve the spiritual world, Param Gatim, the goal, the Loka Vrindavan, never to come back again, never to take birth again. We utilize our life in such a way that we're preparing for death. Yam yam vapi smaram bhavam tiyam chate evanam. Because whatever is our consciousness at the moment of death, that will determine our next destination. You could say death is actually the most important moment in life, because it gives us the opportunity to leave Shamshara, the cycle of birth and death, and go back home, back to Godhead. course, her departure was sad. It was not the way that Vaishnavas want to leave this world. She was despondent, and she took her life. But there are instances like that in our scriptures and in our movement. For example, Chota Haridas, he was a devotee of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he was a sannyasi 500 years ago. And he acted in how do you say, improper way. His conduct was not proper for a sannyasi. So Lord Chaitanya was very upset with him. So he took his life. He was upset, he took his life. But interestingly enough, there's a beautiful painting in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chota Haridas, and after he left his body, he appeared before Mahaprabhu in visible form as a Gandharva with wings. And he was singing to Mahaprabhu, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. So generally we hear, it's doing some straightforward speaking here, someone takes their life, they become a ghost. It's there in scripture. But this is speaking about mundane, material people who have no pious activity, who have no spiritual adhikari. They've never given their life to Krishna. If you give your life to Krishna, Krishna never forgets you. So don't think that Gokuleshwari Padmadasi became a ghost. That may cross someone's mind. No. Krishna never forgets his devotees. And he places them in an appropriate birth where they can continue their devotional service. Especially we must consider these are the times of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is even more kinder than Krishna. And we've heard that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu does not accept offenses. He only accepts our seva. Just consider that. Mahaprabhu doesn't consider what offenses we've done, what nonsense we've done. Because this is Kali Yuga, it's a confused age. People are bewildered. So it's not surprising that even devotees make mistakes because of our past conditioning and some remnants of material desires. We make some fatal mistakes. Mahaprabhu doesn't consider that. He only considers our service. So no doubt, Mataji did so much service, am I correct? Think of it like that. Especially a good husband and her children. Think like that. Just like, perhaps not on the same level as Chota Haridas, he became a Gandharva and he was singing to Mahaprabhu. But I would say her destination was not unfortunate. Her means of departure was foolish, but the result is not inauspicious. Just like my godbrother Vishnu Jana Swami. Everyone's heard of Vishnu Jana Swami? Straight talk here. He was a sannyasi. He also acted inappropriately. He was very strict with himself. So he also took his life. He went to the Ganges and he jumped into the Ganges River and he gave up his life. Prabhupada wasn't pleased when Tamal Krishna Maharaj went to Prabhupada and asked Prabhupada, what about Vishnu Jana Maharaj? Prabhupada loved him. He was such a good kirtan singer. He preached very nicely, made so many devotees. He loved children. He did puppet shows. Prabhupada loved him. But Prabhupada said, at first Prabhupada was upset. He said, he's avoiding service. This is not good. That's how Papa's son. We're here to serve. Nothing should come in between our service to Guru and Garanga. But devotees make mistakes. We're neophytes. So Prabhupada was displeased. He said, he's avoiding service. And then Tamal Krishna Maharaj said, so, where is he? Prabhupada smiled. He said, don't lament for him. He's doing very nicely somewhere. I say that to your community here. I say that to the family. Prabhupada said the same thing. Vishnudan Maharaj took his life. It's not a secret. It's not hidden. Everyone knows. Took his life. The Prabhupada said, don't lament. He's situated very nicely. I say the same thing for Lokalishwari. She's situated somewhere very nicely because her service overrides her faults. The Seva to Krishna is more powerful than any mistakes she may have made. And one can say, but what was she thinking about when she died? She was despondent, she took her life first. So what was she thinking? Yam yam vapi smaram bhavam. Whatever one thinks about at the moment of death, that will determine one's next body. Well, what's more important is what was Krishna thinking about her. It's like a child may be naughty, the child may get a little slap from the father, but it doesn't mean the father doesn't love the child. The father always loves the child, so Krishna always loves us. So when Ramanujacharya asked Ranganath, the deity in Sri Ranga, everyone here knows Sri Ranga, Ranganath, 3 darshans, feet, the waist, Ranganath. Ramanujacharya, because he's pure devotee, he can speak with Krishna. One time a newspaper reporter said, Swamiji, how do you know what all your disciples are doing? You have 5,000 disciples. How do you know what they're doing or, where they're at in Krishna consciousness? How do you know? Prabhupada said, because Krishna tells me so. Srila Prabhupada ki. Krishna tells me. This is Uttama Adhikari. There's Kanishna, Madhyam, Uttama. Uttamas are rare, but they're there because this process works. It works. If you stick to the straight and narrow path of Krishna consciousness, you will one day become Madhyam, you will become Uttama Adhikari. This movement is meant for making saintly persons, for making pure devotees. That's why all of that came to the West, to make pure devotees. To take us back home, back to God. You have to be a pure devotee to do that. So it's possible to speak to the deity, and it's possible for the deity to speak to you. You know that story in Chaitanya Charitamrita, the Brahmin boy was traveling with the elder Brahmana, and he served him very nicely. So the elder Brahmana, they were in Vrindavan, they went before the deity of Shakshi Gopal, the witness deity. And the elder Brahman said, Krishna, this boy has been serving me so nicely. When we get back to Bengal, I'm going to give my daughter to him in marriage. He didn't say anything, he was just witnessing. But when they got back to Bengal, the father changed his mind. His family members said, no, that boy is just young, he doesn't come from a very high caste Brahminical family. So he changed his mind. But that boy had so much shraddha, so much faith in Krishna, he went back to Vrindavan. And an innocent young boy, but pure devotee. He said, Krishna, you know that Brahmana, elderly Brahmana, he promised me his daughter in marriage, and I've already given my heart to her. How can I give my heart to someone else? I've given my heart to her. And she's given her heart to me. Can you come and stand as witness that you heard the elderly Brahman promise his daughter to me? The boy had so much faith. Krishna, will you come and stand as a witness? Krishna said, yes. The deity spoke to the boy. Yes. The boy said, but how will you come to Orissa because you're a deity? How will you get there? So the deity said to the little boy, young man, if I can talk, I can walk. And so it was. The deity said to the boy, you walk to Orissa, but you keep your vision straight forward. But as soon as you look behind to see if I'm there, I'll stop. So the boy walked like that all the way. That's a long way from Vrindavan to Jagannath Puri. And just outside Puri, he couldn't, like, so curious. Is Krishna really behind me? He looked. Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. There was Krishna. He was just called Krishna. That's good enough because that's the original name of God, Krishna. But that deity became famous as Shakshi Gopal, the witness. Krishna came as a witness. So, deity can talk. You should understand, the deities can talk. They're not statues, they're not idols, you know that. The most important, I would say the most important rule and regulation in deity worship, there's many rules and regulations, but the most important rule to remember in deity worship is the deity is a person. And if you think of him as a person, you'll always follow the rules and regulations, naturally, because he's fully conscious. He's more conscious than you. In fact, if you go before the deity, you're taking darshan. I'm going to have darshan. Krishna's also having darshan of you. Because love is reciprocal. You're coming before him in a loving attitude, offering your service to him. And Krishna's looking at you in a loving way. My dear devotee, please come home. We're missing you in Vaikuntha. We miss you in Goloka. You left us. You forgot me, but I never forgot you. This is darshan. Krishna's looking at you. Therefore, an advanced devotee will spend some time in front of the deity. He just doesn't go, take a quick look before going to work. Oh, nice clothes today, nice garland. The pujaris did a nice seva, waved a little incense. No. You're standing before your ever well-wisher, your dearmost friend, on a higher stage, although not yet, your lover. Spend some time with Krishna. That's why the deity has come. Shaktavash. He's come from the spiritual world. He's present there. Arshavigraha means the most merciful form of the Lord, because he doesn't go. Krishna comes, Krishna goes. He was here for 148 years. Ram was here, Ram left. Sringadev came for a day, went back to Vaikuntha. The deities come, they stay. Why? They're here for you. So you observe them, let them observe you. Just by their glance, Chaito Darpan Marjanam. All inauspiciousness in your heart is removed. So spend some time, like you go for radiation, chemotherapy. You got to stay there, let it work. Spend some time in front of the deity. Offer your prayers to the deity. Pray to the deity. That's deity worship. Not a quick look and go to business. Krishna's a person. And one day he'll speak to you. When Prabhupada installed the Chota Radha Krishna deities, the small Radha Krishna deities in Los Angeles, before the big deities, Rukmini Dwarkadish, he said, if you see these deities as brass, they'll remain brass to you forever. But if you worship them according to all the rules and regulations that I've given to you from our Shastras, Prabhupada said, one day these little brass deities will speak to you. You have to have that faith. It's seems far away, and we're struggling to finish the rounds and to read the books and make offenses. But these things are awaiting us. This is the glory of devotional service. Prabhupada said, when you get back to the spiritual world, your spiritual master is waiting for you. He takes your hand, he walks you into the kunja, he puts your hand into Krishna's hand, and he leaves you alone for some time. This is our future. The Karmis say, trust no future for however bright. It's true. This is the place of birth and death. Trust no future. But you can trust the future that Prabhupada has given us. It's very, very, very. So one day Krishna will speak. So Ramanujacharya, he went before the deity of Ranganath. He said, my dear Lord, I have a question. Ranganath? Yes. When will that day be ours? And Krishna replied, yes. So Ramanujacharya, he said, Lord, what happens if your devotee cannot think of you or remember you at the moment of death? I don't think Mataji was necessarily, maybe, I don't know, but she was despondent and she took her life out of frustration. She probably wasn't thinking of Krishna and pure Krishna consciousness. It's okay. We're all works in progress. We don't criticize devotees. Just the fact that one comes to this movement is something glorious. Just the fact that one takes initiation is glorious. The fact that one follows the regular principles is glorious. That one has read Bhagavad Gita, it's all glorious. We don't criticize devotees. It destroys our own bhakti lata, creeper. But we can assume that she probably wasn't thinking of Krishna. So it's an interesting question. Like, maybe you're in a car crash, or maybe you fall off a cliff, or maybe you die of a stroke in your sleep, or, how many people are fully conscious thinking of Krishna when they die? So the answer of Ranganath, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to all his devotees, because we're all Krishna Bhaktas, we're all sons and daughters of Krishna. What did he say? Ranganath said something amazing. It'll touch your heart. He said, Ramanuja, if my devotee cannot remember me at the moment of death, I will remember my devotee. That's what we're asking for. We're asking for Krishna to do you see me, Krishna? So therefore, every day we're chanting very seriously, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Krishna! I'm one of the many jivas. I'm like a little ant. Do you know I exist? How many times have I quoted in the last few days? Oh Lord, I'm drowning in the fathomless whirlpool of material existence. Please. Oh, you who give shelter to the shelterless, just this one time, won't you extend your hand to save me? So we may feel very low and unqualified and very insignificant. But you know, mothers, you have children. And the eyes of the general public, when you're walking down the street, who cares about your kids? They don't notice your children. Does the world know that your sons and daughters exist? No, but you know, because they're your children. So Krishna is the seed-giving father of all living entities, and therefore each and every created being is as dear to the Lord as any other. Even if they're lost in the material world, even if they've turned their backs on Krishna, Bahir Mukha, they turn their faces, Jagannatha Pandit says, Prema Vivarta. Bahir Mukha, you're talking to somebody, and then you went, it's very offensive. My mother used to say, son, I'm speaking to you, look at me. Sorry, Mom. We turned our face from God, came to this world. Prabhupada said one time, when you're falling from the spiritual world, Krishna accompanies you for a little distance and tries to convince you, don't go. He's convinced. God is falling down with you, saying, please don't go to Hyderabad. Don't go to Miami. Don't go to Paris. Don't go to Chandralok. Don't go anywhere in this material creation. Stay with me. I love you. No, I'm out of here. Hyderabad. It's a nice city, but it's also a place of birth, disease, old age, and death. So, we were adamant. But he comes in so many ways to convince us to come home. He's there in Shastra, inviting us home. He comes once in a day at Brahma. He sends his ambassador, his representative, the spiritual master. He's like, he's always there. Finally we wake up. So he wants us to come home. So although we live a life of forgetfulness, we become devotees, but for whatever reason, we're not thinking of him. He's thinking of us. So for the family of Gopaleshwara Padma, know that Krishna was thinking of her at her unfortunate passing. And if Krishna's thinking of you, that's auspicious. The act was inauspicious, but Krishna's mercy is overriding that fact. The definition of auspiciousness is that which brings us closer to Krishna. And the definition of inauspiciousness is whatever takes us further away from Krishna. So Krishna was on the court, was always thinking of his devotees. She was devotee. So she's taken birth. Krishna's placed her in a situation whereby she can make nice progress. You could say that's a cause for celebration. What, Maharaj? You know, she took her life. Krishna consciousness overrides all auspiciousness. She's in a favorable place. She is with devotees. So our loss is their gain. You have to think of it like, see the bigger picture. Our loss is their gain. And she will start where she left off. Bhagavad Gita. Underneath here. 240. In this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution. And a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. What's the most dangerous type of fear? To forget Krishna at the moment of death. Even if you get him, even if you're doing some nonsense. A little advancement protects you. So I'm speaking from Shastra. She's simply starting where she left off, with a little upgrade. It's like if you're 50% Krishna conscious, then your next life you start off at 51%. Little boost. So it's sad that she's not with us, but it's wonderful that she's continuing her devotional service elsewhere. We have to think of it like that. Krishna says, makes it very clear that the unsuccessful yogi takes birth in a family of merchants, prosperous family, so that they don't have to struggle for the basic necessities of life. So they've got time for chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. 64% of the world goes to bed hungry every night. Africa, Ethiopia, Rwanda, Yemen, etc. But devotee doesn't have to worry. Next birth, get birth in a family, like your families. The most pious people in the universe take birth in Bharat, because everywhere you see Ram, Krishna, Nrsimha, Vamanade, Turvikara, Kurma, you see, reminded, even now in Kali Yuga. So she's taken a good birth, instantaneously. As soon as one dies, immediately in the womb of it. So in that sense, of course, there's a period of grieving. There's a period of grieving, that's only natural. But after that period of grieving is over, then one should become sober and understand this is a world of birth and death. In 100 years, none of us are going to be here. So let us take this as a lesson that we should use every moment of our life for Krishna consciousness. Because you can't gain back even a moment of life for all the gold in the world, according to Shani Pandit. Let her departure serve the community. It's kind of an interesting twist. But let her departure serve the community to make us more sober. Anyone can leave for any various reason at any moment. I was watching a video of a Christian priest the other day. And you can find, if you're Krishna conscious, you can find knowledge anywhere. Some lesson to be learned about the good, bad, and the ugly. So this priest, he was elderly. It was really interesting. It really touched my heart. He was giving a sermon in France, because I speak some French. So when I was in France, I used to take on Harinam or Sankirtan, book distribution, time for lunch, I'd always go to a church to eat because of the sanctified atmosphere. One of the pews, I'd sit there and look at the cross and Jesus, and it was a nice place, purified atmosphere. I'd eat, so I'd watch the priest sometimes. So I was watching this video of the priest, live view, and he was giving his lecture. He's old, he had beard, and couldn't walk, probably in his late 80s. He used to be all of a sudden, oh! And he was having a heart attack, it was obvious. Oh my God, oh! Grabbed his chest, oh! And then he kind of smiled and said, Monseigneur! And he died. Monseigneur means my Lord in French. There's many names of God. There's unlimited names. Primary names, secondary names mean secondary like about his opulences. But primary names like Gokulananda, Yashodananda, Krishna, Gopijana Vallabha, many names. So all these names are very powerful. And if one sings the name of God at death, what goes? So he like that, he's giving a sermon, watching, understanding a little bit. Like, oh! Like, oh my God, he's dying. And a little smile. Monseigneur. God's dead. I was so impressed that he was such a faithful man of God that in his last moment, Monseigneur! In French, if you know French, it's a very touching phrase. It's like, Krishna, help! So Monseigneur, and he died. He didn't even move. By the time he hit the ground, he was dead. Everyone's crying. I'm applauding. He did it. So all the better if we can remember Krishna at the moment of death. It's like my mother. My mom was a scientist. She was an atheist. And when I became a Hare Krishna, she was furious. Son, what have you done to the family? Our reputation as scientists. What have you done? And look at you. When you were a teenager, I was asking you to cut your hair. Now I'm asking you to grow your hair back. And as the years went by, we had so many arguments. At first, she defeated me. I was a new bhakta. But as time went on, then we stopped arguing. There was no conclusion. But she was a avowed atheist. But I send her books. And where would the books end up when I go visit home? They're all in the garage, covered with grease and dirt. And she just put them in the garage, covered them with some dirty newspapers. The fumes of the car built up. Anyway, to make a long story short, some years ago I was in London and I got a call at 2:30 in the morning. It was my mother. Son, I want to go to Vrindavan. What? Vrindavani. You mean Vrindavan? Yeah, Vrindavan. She had a drinking problem. Mom, you've been drinking. No, please, take me to Vrindavani. She used to make fun of me sometimes. Yeah. Mom, I'm going to call you in the morning. No, please, son, speak to me now. Mom, I'll call you at 6:30 in the morning. I went to sleep. I hung the phone up. And then at 6:30, I got earlier, showered and everything, and called home. My brother answered the phone. He was merely at home. And I said, hey, Peter Butter. Pete, that's my nickname. I said, Pete, let me speak to Mom. Silence. I'm the older brother. Peter, let me speak to Mom. Silence. I said, Peter, she called me a couple hours ago. I want to talk to her. I think she's been drinking. He said, my older brother, she just died. I went, what? She just died. In my arms, on the bed. I said, what? I just talked to her. He said, yeah, I know. She called you. She wanted to go to Vrindavan. He said, what's Vrindavan? I said, oh, that's another thing. I'll tell you later, Peter. I said, but why? She died was it sudden? No, he said, no, she had cancer. She had cancer? Yes. She didn't want you to know because she didn't want to disturb your important work, she said. My important work? My mom was against what I was doing. Said, yeah, I know, but 6 months ago she learned she had 4th-stage terminal cancer. They couldn't cure it, so she was sitting on the veranda in a rocking chair, and she said to me, Peter, it doesn't make sense. All the philosophy I've lived by. How can I cease to exist when I die? I can't accept that. And looking at this world around me, it's just so amazing place. Maybe there's God. My brother was shocked. Mom, what's got into you? She said, I'm on the verge of death. I'm asking these questions now because I think I've wasted my life. Go to the garage and get that book that your big brother sent 30 years ago. Begame Jide. My mom, she just didn't know the vocabulary. And she said, bring it here and clean it up. My brother went and got the Bhagavad Gita. It was all dirty and soiled from 30 years in the garage. And she took it and my brother cleaned it and she started reading it. I know because when I went home later, she had these little, how do you call them?
Post-it notes.
Yeah. Ask Brian, that's my car name, ask Brian this question, ask him that question, why this. She had verses underlined, arrows going here and there. She was reading it, studying it, like a hungry man wants food. And then she said to her brother, to my brother, one time your elder brother told me he had a tape ministry where all his lectures were recorded. He had 1,000, I thought they were all nonsense talk. I want them all now. My brother had to order 1,000 tapes in the old days, the cassettes, you know. And my mom wasn't very tech savvy, so he bought her a tape recorder and showed her how to work it. And got her headphones. He said, for the last 6 months, Mom was on the porch, just listening to your lecture, smiling and nodding her head, reading that negative video. He said such a change came over her. And when she was dying, I was crying. She looked up at me, she's just, the moment she died, she looked up at me, she said, Peter, don't lament for me. I'm not this body, I'm Jivatma, I'm spiritual. And then as she was dying, her last breath, she said, Peter, I'm going to Krishna. My brother said he could swear that he saw the soul leave her mouth. You know, he said, when the soul leaves, if you're a pious person, it leaves through the mouth. He said, I think that her soul, I think she went there. He said, what is it where she went? I said, I'll tell you later, Peter. So, her last word was Krishna. Like mundane scientist, spent her whole life wasting her life. I'm her son, I'm still here, finishing my rounds every day, my guys, my mom. So death is a very mysterious thing, but if Krishna is involved, nothing to lament. Only we lament. We've lost the association of that person. Who made a mistake? Okay, but we all make mistakes, right? Krishna's mercy is more powerful than our nonsense, than our material desires. So I flew home for the memorial. My mother had asked to be cremated. So my brother didn't have any money, so I had to go to the funeral home and pay for it. So I went to the funeral home and it was $800, a lot of money, almost a lakh. So I said to the gentleman, I said, I've come here to pay for my mother's cremation and then because you used an airplane to spread her ashes in the ocean. He went, oh no. He said to me, sir, I'm so sorry. We cremated her, but my supervisor forgot to spread her ashes in the ocean. We'll do it tomorrow, and because we made a mistake, you keep your money. I said, give me the ashes. So they were in a box. And with the $800, I took a taxi to the airport, San Francisco. I bought a ticket to India. I had a 10-year visa already. And with my mother's ashes, I flew to Delhi. I took a taxi to Vrindavan. I bought a gamsha, took off my clothes, put on my gamsha. It was warm, it was July. Walked into the Jamuna. She was flowing up to my waist. Had the ashes of my mother there. As I was pouring them into the river Jamuna, I said, Mom, I brought you to Vrindavan. I fulfilled my dharma as a son. I brought my mom. How many times I argued with her? How many times she refused the food? One day she was really hungry and she ate lots of burfi and sandesh. And on my birthday, I'd always send my mother 2 dozen red roses. She'd always say, son, it's my birthday. Why? It's your birthday. Why are you sending me red roses? I said, Mom, you did all the work. You carried me 9 months in your womb. You gave me your breast milk. You raised me, you chastised me when it was necessary. I owe everything to you, even though you're a nonsense scientist. And now look, because Krishna was involved, Prabhupada, to his purports, convinced my mother of the existence of God. So Krishna was present on her lips when she died. So Krishna was also present with Gopaleshwari at her death, even though she was a foolish little naughty child. Did something really, really, really stupid to take one's life, this human form of life, which is meant for becoming Krishna conscious. But we can forgive her. We can forgive her. Lord Chaitanya is more into forgiving than to chastising and damning, and you go here, you go to hell. No. Not like the foolish karmi. Karmi takes their life, it's a whole different story. Devotee makes a mistake. Big mistake? Okay. But that doesn't compare to the seva a devotee has done in their lifetime. So we lament, we also rejoice. Devotee's life continues with whatever stage she was at, in the pure devotee, whatever stage she was at, she's there again, and she's going to continue taking to Krishna. She'll still be very soon chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. It's like these children. I was watching the young girls here, the boys. They were more enthusiastic in chanting than the adults were, I'm sorry to say. They were the first ones. The men were like, ladies. The children got up. They were dancing. Yes? This little boy, stand up. Up. I swear to God, he almost touched the roof when he was dancing. Show how you were dancing. Jump, jump, jump. That's it. He cured the whole kirtan. Or maybe there was a speck in my eye or something. I could have sworn he touched the ceiling. And these young girls were all dancing together. They knew all the patterns, you know. And then the Maharajis, yeah, we might as well get up and dance too. They all dancing, but it was the children. The Bible says, from the mouth of a child. When you hear something from a child that's Krishna conscious, it's so inspiring. Why? Because in their past births they were devotees. And if they become serious this lifetime, not finishing up, no more birth and death. They get a head start. They're starting from in the womb. Because you're reading Bhagavatam to your children. And you're nourishing them with the prasadam that you eat. They're not ordinary. They're little devotees, and you'll see as they grow up. Especially here in India, because there's so many ways to remember Krishna. A couple of years ago, I was with some children, and I like to give classes to children, tell stories and everything. And I was speaking something about, I can't remember. And then I asked the children, do any of you ever dream of Krishna? So a little girl, she was 6 or 7, she raised her, yes, I dream of Radha. Oh, I said, oh, okay. It's nice. I was thinking, I dream of Radharani. I can't remember the last dream I had of Radharani. So I said, like, yeah, I thought it was cute, you know. She probably just, you know, had a little, saw a picture of Radharani or something. I said, so, how was the dream? It was like you just saw her and you woke up. She said, no. I was making tambula for her. Are you making tambula? Yeah, you know, and she said you take the tambula and you crush it like this and you roll it like this and add some spices and the nitya leaf and then you offer it to the manjari who gives it to the saki who gives it to Radha. This girl's like, how do you know all this? You're 6 years old. She said, but more important than just making a tambula, she said, is that it's the mood in which you offer it. You have to offer it with lowly, with greed, for Radha's mercy, because she's more merciful than Krishna. She's compassionate, because Krishna can be, like we hear God can be as strong as a thunderbolt and soft as a rose. So Radhe, she's as soft as a rose. And Sri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Yoga. She combines with Krishna to become Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And therefore, Mahaprabhu's goal, she's going on like this. I said, how old are you? 6. She said, but the nice part is making the chandan for Radha. She's making the chandan. She said, you take this chandan and then you add some little camphor, she said. Then you put some aguru oil there, like that. Little musk. She said, musk comes from the musk deer. Like, how do you know all this? You know, then she's going to... And you offer it to the Manjari, to the Sagan and Krishna, and then you pray that Radharani will accept it. So like that, I said, oh, that's right. I said, what do you want to be when you grow up? She said, Radhadasi, what else is there to do? I said, but what, you want to graduate from university with what? She said, I just want to be a pure devotee of Radharani. Okay. I said, I'd also like to serve Radharani like that. She said, you can't. I'm a guru, you know, her parents are my disciples. She said, you can't. I said, why not? She said, because you're a male. At best, you need a Capricorn. I said, well, I'm not this body. She said, yeah, but it's a different mood, you know. Sometimes I wonder who these children actually are. So when they get up and dance first, this is a good sign. So that means they didn't finish the last lifetime. So Kukaleshwari, she didn't finish in this lifetime. But she has every opportunity to finish in her next lifetime. So don't lament. We lament, you know, she's my mother, she's my wife, you know, she's my friend. Yes, that's nature, the human nature is there, that's there. But she belongs to Krishna. And Krishna's taking care of her. You know, who was my wife in my last life? Who was my son? Who was my brother? Who was my grandfather? How many fathers and mothers and sons have I had since I left God's creation? So many! Who was my neighbor? That, you know, it's just like the river's flowing and then the leaves come together, you know. For a little while, the flow of the river separates them and they join another group of leaves and another group of leaves. We're all Krishna's. We're all Krishna's property. Krishna knows what's best for us. He will make sure that we make it home back to Godhead, no matter how foolish we are. Because we're like little children crying for His mercy. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. But to her husband and to her children, I will, she will be in my prayers for the next few days. Puja, I have my deities, so I will pray for her deliverance. And although I'm completely convinced she's in a good place, like Prabhupada said, Vishnu John Swami took his life, he's in a good place. He said, don't lament, he's doing fine. So think of it like that, same situation. It's lamentable, there's a moment, there's I think a month, something like that, of grieving, and it's only natural. We cry, we cry, we cry, but in the long run, eventually Prabhupada said, we'll all be back home, back to Godhead. And he said one time, we'll have our ISKCON in the spiritual world. As the final line here, especially to the family members of Kukaleshwari Padma, Prabhupada told my godbrother, Dhananjaya, I was shocked. I was shocked. Prabhupada told Dhananjaya, when we get back to the spiritual world, we'll all recognize each other. We'll all recognize each other. Oh, I remember you. I remember you, I remember you. But we won't be concerned with that because we'll all be liberated souls. We'll just be concerned with our service to Radha and Krishna and Krishna Balaram. Okay, so some words of condolence, some words of support, and some words of hope for everyone in this community today. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai! Take good care of your children. They're the pride and joy of this community. And one more thing. I brought a book. This is a book that my disciples have just printed. During the pandemic, that's a bad word. We're not supposed to swear as sadhus, but pandemic. But during the pandemic, when we couldn't move anywhere, I was locked down. Where? Vrindavan! Woo! But I couldn't go. Sannyasis are always moving. Every 3 days you have to leave. So my whole life, 52 years, just traveling the world, and all of a sudden Radharani slams the door. I'm walking back and forth, and 10 meters back and forth. What am I going to do? Look at the bookshelf, all the books I collected for all those years. I said, now's the time to seriously study them and share them. Sannyasi had to keep preaching. So I decided the theme of my study would be Vrindavan. Because Vrindavan, that's our real home, not Hyderabad. It's not our home is Braj, we're always hearing about it. We want to go back to Goloka Vrindavan. We want to fall out of love with this world and into love with the spiritual world, Vrindavan. So how can you fall in love with somebody or something you don't know anything about? So I thought as a service to the greater Vaishnava community, I would study Vrindavan in depth. All the holy places, all the acharyas, all the saints, all the poets, all the pastimes that took place here, there, and everywhere. There's 60 billion holy places in Vrindavan. All the different humors, the mellows, the philosophy, even the deeper stuff, Rasik Bhakti. I'd study it, and then I'd speak on it. So every Friday for the last 4 years, I've been giving lectures on Vrindavan. I haven't run out of material. Yesterday, I recorded the most recent lecture. Recently, my disciples, they printed them, they transcribed them into a book. It's called The Sacred Forest of Vrindavan. There'll be 25 books. This is the first 20, but in this particular first book, I talk about how to enter into Vrindavan. Not just drive there or take a train, but the mood, how a Krura entered Vrindavan, what he did, what he saw. Step by step, how to prepare yourself for going home. We're going to Vrindavan, and when you get there, this is the perfect Purikama guidebook. This concerns the forests on the western bank of the Jamuna. There's 12 forests on the western bank. So many holy places there. You can just, where should we go today? Oh well, Maharaj wrote about Taliban, and what happened to Taliban, Denakasura, and all the information is there, as much as you can know. Plus, there's very beautiful paintings, or rather, photographs of Vrindavan, so you can relate to the different places there. So this is an in-depth study of your hometown. You know so much about Hyderabad, what do you know about Vrindavan? So here's the perfect book, first in the series. It's called The Traveling Monk in Sacred Places series. And yeah, it's available for you now. It's done very first class. It's like the kind of book you can put on the table in your home when people walk in. What's that book? It looks really good. Yeah, it's about home, Vrindavan. And if you can't go to Vrindavan immediately, then you can read about Vrindavan in the privacy of your home and create the same atmosphere. Shravanam, Kirtanam brings Krishna Smaran and remembering. Bhaktivinoda Thakur woke up, he writes, I woke up one morning and saw my house had been transformed into Goloka Vrindavan. Why? Because they're always talking about Vrindavan in that house. So here's a way to talk about Vrindavan. It's really expensive. I was supposed to say that. It's 2,500 rupees, but it's worth it. I think it's worth it because Vrindavan is difficult to achieve. You need like a guidebook to get you there. So I'm going to spend a few minutes here before I go because I have more programs. But if anyone would like to buy a book, I'd be more than happy to give a little dedication and sign the book there with my pen And then you can keep this as a memorial, a memory for the wonderful day we spent together today in honor of Mataji and her auspicious path back home, back to Godhead. And yeah, it's available for you. So where are you going to set up?
There.
Yes.
Oh, there.
So we have the books over there.
The books will be over there. I'll be here. And with my pen. And if you buy a book, I'll sign the book. And then you can go home and fall in love with Vrindavan. And we'll all meet there one day. And we'll all recognize each other. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Where's the dancer? Where's the boy who danced and touched the ceiling? Where is he?
Take the table. Give me a